Welcome and good morning, everyone. Happy to have you all along here today. My name is Randy Lober. You are you, and together we will do some great things today, this hour, this week, this month, this year. And I'm pleased to spend all of it with you here side by side, helping you grow your health insurance business. Today's session will be talking about all about your quarter one follow-ups, how to make the most of them if you already have them scheduled, how to schedule them if you don't have them scheduled, and how to set yourselves up for success going forward for the remainder of the year. We always like to say, and if we think about the year like a football game, basketball game, whatever, you certainly can't win or lose the game in the first quarter, right? There's still lots of time left in the game, but you can set yourself up for success or not, right? And that's what today's session is all about. How do we use our first quarter follow-ups or the opportunity to talk with people during the first quarter as an engine for growth for the remainder of the year? Want to check in with you real quick before we get started. Two things for you. First, I'd like to know, and you don't have to go do a whole research project, but about what percentage of your clients hold multiple policies with you? Is it 5%, 10%, 30%, 100%? Go ahead and put a few numbers in the chat. And the corollary to that question is, what percentage of your clients would you like to hold multiple policies with you? Go ahead and just tell me what you're thinking here in the chat. What sounds good to you? What is the approximate makeup of your book? Is everyone just one policy? Do you have everyone with several policies? What's going on? As a reminder, when you look down at that chat window, you can choose whether everyone sees your replies or whether just I can see your replies. Many of you are being a little shy today, but that's okay. For a lot of us, that second question is key. We want all of our clients to have multiple policies with us because it helps make them stickier, right? It helps show your value as an agent, connecting them with coverage that they want, need, and desire. B, it makes it a lot harder to move their policy to another agent if they've got a bunch of stuff with you, right? So one of the best secrets for client retention is to have multiple policies with those clients. And that's what we want to talk about, how we can use the first quarter follow-up to do. So we'll talk about two things: how we structure those follow-ups for success. And if you don't already have those follow-ups because, whatever happened during fourth quarter, we'll talk about a few strategies for getting those follow-ups here in this part of the year so you can start building your engine for success throughout the year. So let's talk about that structure. What makes for a good follow-up appointment and why might you want to do that? The why is pretty simple, right? We want to make sure that our clients are happy with the coverage that they've purchased or enrolled in, and they have everything they need to know how to use it. So we see three key ingredients for a great first quarter follow-up appointment. The first ingredient is making sure that they have all their plan materials, your ID cards. Every carrier sends out some sort of welcome kit, and we want to answer any questions they might have about the plan and how it works. We also secretly want to be a little bit of self-serving. Miss Smith, you made a great choice when you enrolled in that plan. It really fit those needs for you, right? And you're gonna love taking advantage of these benefits. We want to make sure that that they feel like we help them make a good choice. And we also want to provide some solutions for potential coverage gaps, right? Not every plan is perfect. Every plan has a few holes that we can fill. And if we didn't talk about them during fourth quarter, during enrollment season, this is the next best time to do so. So let's talk about some of that easy stuff first. Confirming plan materials. We want to make sure our clients received their ID cards, their welcome kits, and likely, depending on what they enrolled in, some welcome calls from the carrier as well, especially if they're a SNP enrollee, DSNP, ISIP, SNP, CSNP. Most carriers do some outreach from the care coordinator so your clients are familiar with that team. So we want to make sure all those things happened. And we also, again, want to kind of operate under the assumption that there have been no plan or issues with the network or pharmacy on January 1st, right? When a lot of pharmacies or doctors change their participation status with networks. So we want to check in on that sort of things too. If your client's got all that stuff, great, you're following up and you're making sure that your client can use the coverage they just purchased with your help. But if they don't have any of those stuff, there's another opportunity to show value right away, right? You've got a service request you can work on. You can help Miss Smith order her ID card or figure out where that welcome kit might be. And you wouldn't have known about those things if you didn't have that follow-up appointment or that follow-up call. Either way, whether they have these things or they don't have those things, you're getting something big out of this. You're building trust with your client, and that trust is important for what comes next inside the follow-up appointment. So that first thing, confirming the plan materials, is your gateway to building trust for what comes next. Second thing we want to do is affirm their great decision. We want to show them how some benefits in that plan influence their decision, and then we want to help them use that benefit. So, Ms. Smith, I know you have you're diagnosed with diabetes. This plan or this carrier comes with Livongo, a great solution for managing your supplies. Let me show you how to make your next supply order. Or maybe it's something like you set our appointment, you need some help with light household work. Remember, this plan comes with XYZ hours of companion care that can help with some chores, transportation, or even just give you someone to talk to. Do you have that number on hand, Miss Smith? If not, let me show you how to make your next appointment here. Or maybe it's something like, when we talked, you mentioned that you have a major surgery coming up. It was important to you to have lower hospital copays and some support during recovery. This plan has X dollar copay for that outpatient surgery, and it's going to deliver Y number of wheels for 2 weeks after discharge. Let me show you how to request that benefit when the time comes, right? We're building trust, we're showing value, helping them use the benefits embedded in the plan that they chose. So you're reaffirming two things: your care for your client and your product knowledge. And that sets you up for the third thing, build you some trust for presenting some options for closing coverage gaps. We've talked a bit about diabetic supplies, copays. Are there any other things you see that commonly drive decisions for your clients? And how might you bring them up in this context, right? And showing them how to solve benefits. Love to see what you're thinking here in the chat while I take a sip of water. Drug copays are certainly a big one. You're absolutely right, James. There's two James here today. So if you are not the James that replied to me, that's okay. But two, drug copays are absolutely a thing. And, often there's a cost advantage when you order drugs via the carrier's mail order solution. So, you can say, Ms. Smith, I know you value the $0 copay or the $2 copay for generics on this plan. Let me show you how to make that mail order in your app or whatever the case might be. Again, building value, building trust, showing that you know what you're talking about, which makes this next part a bit easier. And no doubt bones about it. It is some of the hard stuff. But there is a universal truth in every major medical plan, right? And that's that they have holes that expose your client's finances, whether that's a giant deductible. And we're dipping into our under 65 market here as well. Not everyone has resources on hand to meet an $18,000 family deductible or a $21,000 family deductible. That's a big hole that needs filling. And you can show your value and build value by showing them how to fill that hole. And if it's not the deductible, you've got out-of-pocket maxes or MOOPs, depending on, again, the market you're working in here, under 65 or over 65. That can be a big financial hurdle. And copays, right, for typical hospitals or surgery or ambulance copays. Any one of those or all of those, because they often go together, can put a big dent in your client's finances if they all come due at once. So there are ways we can help account for that going forward. And supplemental policies are the way to do that. So we have a little bit of a crash course in some of these policies here if you're not yet familiar or if you're newer to the industry here, and show you some ways, some clients that might be some good fits for these during your Q1 follow-up appointments. So we'll talk a bit about accident. We'll talk a bit about critical illness, heart attack, stroke, cancer policies. We'll talk a bit about hospital indemnity and short-term care. These next few moments won't be a substitute by any means for a full in-depth product training. though we're happy to do that with and for you as well, just enough to make you curious and see about who could be a good fit for these going forward. So first thing we want to talk about here today is an accident policy. And gosh, this is a great fit for almost anyone because almost anybody can have an accident, right? If you've ever sprained an ankle or broken a wrist or cut your hand in the kitchen, maybe you have kids and they sprain their ankle during a city league soccer game. If you're at risk of an accident policy is probably a good fit for you. How these policies generally work is one of two ways. There's either a defined benefit where they say, oh, a sprained ankle is X payout, a severed limb is Y payout. There's actuaries that figure out those things apparently. The other common policy design here is a benefit bank. So you buy a benefit bank of $5,000, $10,000, and as you submit explanations of benefits from the major medical carrier, the accident policy would reimburse your client for their costs, down to the penny on those EOBs, as long as the benefit bank still has cash in it. The big use here in either case, no matter how the policy functions though, is to offset those deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance, and you have some extra money set aside for things that you can't do while you're recovering from that injury, right? So if you could use that money for lawn care or as a temp partial income replacement or whatever the case might be as you're recovering from that injury or as your client's recovering from that injury. And that's all well and good. We might know that accident policies are out there, but how do I bring them up? A question that's had a lot of success as we talk to agents that we work with is what resources do you have on hand to meet that deductible? Especially in the under 65 market, if they're in a bronze plan, they're staring down an $18,000 family deductible. Chances are they don't have 18 grand on hand ready to pay that all at once, which is very possible in the case of a broken bone and that requires surgery and something else. So if that's not on hand, Ms. Smith, let me show you a way that we can help pay for some of those costs or offset some of those costs going forward. Second big policy type that can be a good fit for your first quarter follow-ups is a critical illness policy. And generally, they're sold to anyone that has risk factors for a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. Really, my age range, middle age is where your sweet spot for these because your risk level goes up as soon as you cross that 35, 40 threshold. And so they're likely to be more at risk for some of these going forward. What these policies do, if you're not yet familiar, is they pay out for the first diagnosis or instance and can offer some additional riders for those as well. For example, a popular cancer plan that we worked with from GTL, Guaranteed Trust Life, will pay up to $50,000 on that first diagnosis, and then they can add the option for recurrence benefits or something else to help take care of them. And again, the reason you have a critical illness policy or the reason you offer one is to help your client take care of those medical costs. With riders, you can also have additional funds for outpatient therapy, whether it's PT, OT, or speech therapy in the case of stroke. You also have options for lost income, and in the best case, right, if they never have to use the policy, depends on the carrier, there's return of premium built into these as well. You can either buy that option, or some carriers are nice enough to give it all back if you have not used it there as well. So again, it's insurance for those gaps in your health insurance plan, helps you pay for those things that would run you into your deductible and your out-of-pocket max fairly quickly. So how do you bring it up is one of two ways. Tell me about your plans if you have a major illness. So tell me about something, what will you do if you have a stroke? What will you do if you have a heart attack? No one can plan for those things, right? But it's a good opportunity to start the conversation there. And Mr. Smith or Miss Smith, let me show you how we can help you prepare for that. Or some folks tend to be a little bit matter of fact about it. Who is your cancer policy with, right? Make it sound like the most run-of-the-mill thing, like everyone has one. And chances are they'll either say, oh, I have it with XYZ, and you have the option to say, oh, let's make sure that still fits your needs. or I don't have a cancer policy. Let me find one and quote one that can help fill this gap for you in your plan. Either way, you're starting that conversation with them, showing building your value, building trust as someone that helps take care of all of their or many of their financial needs, at least as it relates to healthcare. Third policy type, and this is a great fit for your clients in zero or low premium Medicare Advantage plans, and also as the Medicare deductibles continue to climb, can be a good fit for your folks in a high deductible plan G from MedSup here as well. What does it do? Well, all those Medicare Advantage plans all have an inpatient hospital copay, and that's what these plans are designed to offset. So if you've got $445 that you owe for days 1 through 7 in the hospital, these plans can make your client whole for those, and depending on how you write them, if you write for a few dollars more than that, you can put some money back in your client's pocket if they go spend some time in the hospital. And there's additional riders for other coverage gaps, right? So popularly, agents often write these with a outpatient surgery rider because those those copays add up in the $250 range or so, depending on the plan you have. Ambulance copays are about another $250, $350 again, depending on the plan. You can offset some of that, and for somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 to $60 a month, that provides some pretty good protection against hospital costs or ambulance costs that would otherwise be through the roof. So why you do it is to offset those costs, right? What's important to mention about this plan, and indeed the critical illness plans on the last slide, is that the carriers would pay your beneficiary directly or your enrollee directly. The provider doesn't see a cut of that money. So your beneficiaries have the option to choose how they want to use these funds. Yes, a good move is to pay for your hospital copay, but if maybe a relative came to town to help take care, you need to take care of their lodging, or maybe you need to board FIDO while you're recovering or in the hospital, these policies provide funds where you can do that as well. How you do it is you highlight some of their gaps in coverage with the worksheet. We have one in-house. We're happy to put your brand and your name on here as well. But essentially what we do is say, Ms. Smith, here's the benefit package on your core health plan. You'd be responsible for this hospital confinement copay, this ER copay, ambulance copay, SNF copay, outpatient therapy copay. We can take care of some of those payments here. Show you what the ancillary benefits could provide, or the supplemental benefits can provide, show you your maximum potential out-of-pocket expense on that plan, show you that if the worst case happens, Ms. Smith, we can actually give you a little bit more money back in your pocket, all for the price of $44.25 a month. How does that sound to you, Ms. Smith? And generally, when you show them the holes in the plan, show them how you can fill those holes in the plan, that is a win-win for you when it comes to these sorts of sales, especially if they're on a $0 plan. And granted, I know a lot of folks choose $0 plans because they like the $0 premium, right? You can show them how, again, that low monthly cost can really offset, those costs should the worst occur. You also have clients that are going to want to be deep in the weeds with you about every benefit in their plan. We've got a long form worksheet here for the same purpose for you here as well. Happy to make one for you and put your branding on it. If you so desire, just let me know. The other thing to think about, especially for your folks who are Medicare enrollees, but really almost anyone that could be at risk of being disabled for a short period of time, is a short-term care policy. These policies kick in for up to 360 days, is probably more accurate to say there, if your client can't perform 2 or more activities of daily living. So bathing, toileting, transferring. And these plans often have additional riders available to pay for in-home care, or some additional benefit boosters you can put in there as well. Why you do it is depending on the requirements and the level of care that your beneficiary might need while they're temporarily disabled. The average cost for a home health aide is about $56,000. And I just know that a large majority of your clients don't have 56K lying around to spend on home health care should they need that sort of thing. So the question is, who do you have to take care of you if you can't take care of yourself? Can you guarantee that your son or daughter will move in or let you live with them if you become suddenly disabled on a temporary basis? Can you guarantee that your neighbor or niece or nephew will do that? If not, chances are you're going to turn to a home health care or go to a facility for a short while. And how will you pay for that? Again, another great way to start that conversation there and really start talking about some of their possible exposures here. I'd like you to think for a minute then, because I've been talking here for a bit, about the current makeup of your book. Maybe it's a lot of Medicare Advantage, maybe it's under 65, maybe it's Medicare Supplement. What are some ancillary product or products that could be a good fit for the greatest percentage of your clients? And we ask that question because it's hard to learn a lot of new products at once. But if you've got one you're digging into that you can master, or one product line you can dig into and master and start fiddling around with, playing, presenting to some of your clients, it's a lot easier to feel successful with that small bite of the elephant, right? Rather than trying to go for the whole thing at once. So as you're thinking about your book, I would like you to think about which product or products could be good fits for your book going forward. But all that assumes that you do already have the follow-up on the calendar. You know when you're going to be talking to or visiting with your clients. But if you are a newer agent, or perhaps like a lot of people, fourth quarter AEP, OEP got away from you, you might not have follow-ups on the book with all your clients. And so I want to present a few strategies, a few options that we have found in talking to some of our agents that can boost your ability to have this meeting after the fourth quarter is over. Leave you with, begin with rather, this thought is the best time to schedule your follow-up is at the end of every client meeting. So when you meet and do that enrollment in October, November, December, it's good idea to say, hey, let's touch base in January or March, make sure everything's working out for you, what day or time could work for you. But if you didn't do that, again, the next best time to schedule that follow-up or to try to schedule that follow-up is right now, here, today. So how do we do that if we don't already have one? One thing you can do is think about voicemails, right? It's not cold calling, and I know a lot of folks hate cold calling or the idea of like unprompted outreach, but you've already got a relationship with this person, right? You've already worked with them, you've already gotten the enrollment done. So it's not cold calling, but it is calling with a vested interest in securing this follow-up appointment. One powerful cadence, and there's no evidence to back this in terms of like research and science that says this, but a lot of sales pros rely on a voicemail cadence that looks a bit like the one here on your screen, where you leave that first one, you wait 2 days, leave a second one, wait 2 days, then space them out to 3 touches 3 days apart, and then space them out to the last 2 touches 4 days apart. If they don't respond after those 7 touches, chances are you're probably not going to hear from them rather. And yeah, it's going to feel a little bit intrusive, especially if you have not done this sort of thing, or your clients aren't used to doing this sort of thing, used to you doing this sort of thing rather. But again, it's a great way to build that contact, build that trust, and show your value beyond just enrollment season, right? Showing that you're always thinking about how you can take care of your clients. That's a little too much for you, though. Email is always an option. Some folks are more likely to respond to an email, especially if it has your name or face on it. They can mark it and come back to it here. Might feel a little less intrusive than a voicemail cadence. The other option that is sneaky underrated here is snail mail. So a handwritten letter, handwritten note that gets to your client's mailbox or gets to your client's inbox there. Those sorts of things can really be helpful, right? Saying, oh, I have a personally addressed envelope. I have a personally addressed note that says, hey, have you thought about XYZ policy? Or a lot of my clients are adding this. Would you like to talk about it? That feels intentional. It feels like you've done some thinking about them, and a lot of agents do have good success rates with that as well. If you are still trying to secure that meeting, again, you can also think about showing the full menu of what it is that you offer. So if I'm there in the enrollment meeting and maybe I'm in a Medicare appointment or whatnot, and we haven't talked about, or they didn't put hospital indemnity or any other supplemental products on that scope of appointment, they didn't check the box. They might not know you offer them, right? If you can't show them that full menu, right? It's kind of like going to a restaurant that doesn't give you a menu, and you haven't asked the waiter, well, what do you have? What can I eat here? One thing we highly encourage you to do is to show that full menu to your folks of what products you might offer. One thing that could look like, and again, happy to customize this for you here as well, is an actual menu for your marketplace plans or for all the products you offer. Maybe you're showing the core medical options that they have or that you offer, what supplemental policies you offer, or the ancillary policies you offer here as well. Or and the Medicare side, again, all those policies compare well with the Medicare policy, depending on how that is constructed there. So you might show them a portion of that menu. If they don't see it, they don't know about it, they can't ask about it. Giving them ways to ask about it, again, can be pretty helpful. It, so again, if you're not showing that menu, we know that that can be a pretty powerful option. And there's probably some pretty good benefits to letting them see that menu here as well. When we talk about snail mail, again, remember I brought that up as an idea. It doesn't have to be a fully handwritten note, although the envelope maybe should have that label or whatnot. You can send some carrier collateral along, such as this piece from GTL that talks a bit about hospital indemnity. If you have a sticky note on there, it just says, lots of my clients are adding this to offset their costs. Call me if you'd like to learn more. And that's a handwritten note. Again, it shows care, it shows thought, it shows that you are taking the extra time out of your day to connect with your client, provide them an option. That is more likely to get a call back than perhaps just dropping that carrier collateral in the mail would. So certainly that is an option for you as well. So, and sometimes, of course, you just can't connect. We do have a few voicemail scripts that you might want to try here as well. I can make these available to you at your request. So maybe it sounds like, hi, your name, this is my name, and now that January 1 has arrived, your new Medicare plan's here. A few things to remember: to talk about some of the benefits they liked, and also there's a cancer benefit that we can add to your benefit policy. Even though the plan covers a lot of your medical costs, we can address some of your non-medical costs here. Let me know if you'd like to learn more. And again, we've got a few variations we can offer you there as well. Same thing for emails that you might want to send here. You can say things, follow a similar tack. Hey, thank you for letting me help you with your Medicare plan. Don't forget you have this, that benefit stood out to you. If you do happen to go to the hospital, we have a plan that can offset some of your costs. You're using that same kind of language, trying to connect with them and show them the value of what they're missing out by not talking to you. I'd also love to hear a bit, if you're willing to share, about other strategies you have to help you get that follow-up. If you don't have one just yet, please feel free to put those in the chat. But if you don't have those, I'd love, want to thank you again for your time and attention here today. It's a great way to start start a new year rather, is in thinking about how to make the most of it. And these follow-up appointments, again, can really build your engine for the rest of the year as you have revenue coming in because of these sales you make during the follow-ups. I'd also love to hear a bit about, if there's anything you loved about today's session, what do you think we need more of here, but also knowing that we are near the end of the promised time here today. You are welcome to let me know at learningandactionbenefits.com if you need any leave behinds or worksheets or different scripts and tips. I can put those in your inbox, and you're always welcome to find us here on LinkedIn at the Action Benefits Company, via email at learning@actionbenefits.com, or via phone at 248-356-8585. Again, appreciate all your time and attention here today. It's a great start to the year. Good to be back with all of you here today. I'll stick around for any comments or questions you all might have, but you'll hear me stop the recording now, just so there's not a bunch of dead air for folks who might be viewing this later. But again, thank you all for spending time with us here today.